Collets and maintenance. All router collets are designed to do one thing, and that is to hold the router bit securely during router operation. Collets can differ in design and length, but the gripping principle is the same. A longer collet has more surface area to grip the bit, while shorter collets may not grip all of the bit shank. More compression slits around the circumference of the collet may also help grip the bit shank tighter. Some collets only have a single compression slit. Most North American routers include 1/4-inch and 1/2-inch collets for use with standard 1/4-inch and 1/2-inch router bits. Common metric router collets are 6mm, 8mm, and 12mm. Half-inch collets may be adapted to accept smaller bits using a collet reducer. With a collet reducer, a 1/2-inch collet can accept 8mm or 3/8-inch shank bits. Most lead dovetail jigs are shipped with 8mm shank router bits. 8mm shank router bits require the use of an 8mm collet or 1/2-inch to 8mm collet reducer, Lee part number 172-8. The Lee collet reducer is supplied with most Lee dovetail jigs. Lee collet reducers have 6 through compression slits around the exterior, which allows the collet to compress more evenly. One of these slits is cut completely through. When installing the collet reducer, line up what we call the through slit with one of the slits on the collet. This allows both the collet reducer and the collet to compress evenly, holding the shank of the bit tighter. There are other types of collet reducers. Some collet reducers have a reduced number of compression slits. Some, in fact, only have one. There are also collet reducers made out of fiber. Regardless of the collet or collet reducer being used, regular maintenance is required to ensure safe and accurate routing. In order to do collet maintenance, remove the base of the router. Then unscrew the collet nut and remove it from the router spindle. If possible, separate the collet from the collet nut. Some collets are easily removed from the collet nut by snapping them out. We're using a collet that is held in place by a snap ring, which can be removed with snap ring pliers. It will be necessary from time to time to clean the inside and the outside of the router spindle, the collet nut, the outside and the inside of the collet, the outside and the inside of the collet reducer, and your router bits. The goal is to make sure everything is free and clear of grime and resin. Start by carefully cleaning the inside of the router spindle. We're using a blade and bit cleaner, but alcohol or a spirit-based cleaner will also work. Don't use a mineral-based cleaner because it will leave a deposit. Insert the moistened rag inside the spindle and make sure it's thoroughly clean. If there's a bad buildup of grime inside, you may want to use a brass bristle brush. It won't do any damage to the spindle and it will help to clean off any grime. Then clean the outside threads with the rag or a hard bristle brush. Next, clean the collet and the collet nut. Clean the outside of the collet using a rag or a hard bristle brush, making sure it is thoroughly clean and free of resin and grime. Pass a moist rag or a brass brush through the collet and clean the inside. Then clean the collet nut. Next, clean the outside of the collet reducer. To clean the inside of the collet reducer, pass the rag through the inside and apply some cleaner. Lastly, you'll want to clean the cutting surfaces and the shank of your router bits. Before installing the router bit, adjust the router base so that the collet has about 1/8 of an inch clearance from the bottom of the guide bushing. This allows you to insert the router bit in as far as possible in the collet. Ensure that the collet spins freely and does not contact the guide bushing nut. When installing router bits, the old rule of thumb was to put the bit in as far as possible in the collet. As you can see, when using a dovetail bit and a guide bushing, this may not be possible. Also, to compensate for the thickness of the jig fingers, the bit may need to extend out from the collet. For maximum safety, always put the bit as far as possible into the collet to work with the bit and jig. What if you're unsure about how far to safely insert the router bit in the collet? With the collet removed from the router, insert the bit as shown. Mark a reference line on the shank of the bit at the top of the collet or collet nut. With the collet reinstalled and the base height set so that you're able to insert the bit and see the reference line, insert the bit in the collet. Lower the base, allowing the 1/8 inch clearance. You can now extend the bit as much as necessary to work with the bit and jig, knowing the shank is held securely in the collet. For more how-to videos and information on Lee products, visit leejigs.com. All Lee products carry a full 5-year warranty. Lee products are available worldwide through our network of dealers and distributors.